When was the last time you stepped outside your comfort zone with knives? How's it going, everybody? I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny. And if you have a time in mind when you stepped outside your comfort zone with knives, pop it in the comments section down below. While you're down there, if you could just lovingly caress the like button. It's been feeling a little bit lonely today. Today we're talking about the Purple Haze Fat Carbon Fiber Kizer Feist XL. Massive shout out to friend, channel member, and huge supporter Oreo Dave, because he didn't just lend this to me, he actually gifted it to me. As it turns out, he won this on another channel's giveaway. And as it tends to happen when you buy a lot of knives or when you get a lot of knives, you're going to run into some that just aren't for you. And so lucky me, he passed it along to me so that I could give my 2 cents, or rather my 10 cents, because I do tend to ramble about knives quite a bit. Good news for you, if you like knife ramblings, you've come to the right spot. And if you do like the episode, make sure you hit subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. The Kizer Feist is a design that's been around for a little bit, and I've always passed on it because it just turns out that this knife does not photograph well. Even with the fat carbon fiber, which I've never experienced in hand before, I've always gone for titanium. It looks much better in person than the photos online ever make it look. If you're a retailer, take note. You need better photos of fat carbon fiber because they do not do it justice. I'm really excited to find out what the hype train is all about, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. Guys, this is the Kizer Feist XL. Let's check it out. All right, so while I'm not going to make you struggle through watching me try to open up packages and failed, I am going to show you the unboxing experience because I do think that Kizer does this right. By the way, let me know in the comment section down below if you appreciate it when knife companies get the unboxing right. So on the Kizer box, they have this magnetized box with these, I'm pretty sure those are lion door knockers. It's kind of this magnetic opening door type thing that goes on, and that's honestly really cool. They do have one of the best unboxing experiences out there. You're greeted by a Kizer sticker and some replacement screws. Hallelujah, we need more of these, and also disassembly tools, but that's a story for another time. You dive a little bit deeper and you got your paperwork, and of course inside you got your cleaning cloth as well, and some more stickers. And then finally, in this pouch, which is not like all the other generic pouches out there, you get the knife. And the knife that we are checking out today, of course, is the Purple Haze Kizer Feist XL. Now, in my intro, I mentioned that the pictures do not do this knife justice. I'm going to go ahead and pop a picture of this knife on a retail website so you can see what I mean. This is what it looks like online. You see what I mean? That picture lacks all kinds of depth. Meanwhile, when we look at this knife, you can see that the fat carbon shimmers and it almost changes colors depending upon the lighting. That's fantastic and adds some depth. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's talk a little bit about the specs, shall we? Kizer lists this as the 3.3-inch blade version. The original Feist is a smaller knife, so this one, believe it or not, is the XL. Let's go ahead and see if their specs on their website are accurate. So it does look like the blade is 3.3 to the highest point on the handle scales, but it's more like 3 3/4 if you go to the lowest point. Overall, you're looking at about 7 3/4 overall, which is going to give you over 4 inches on the handle scales, which is good for mini, large to extra large size hands. Let's talk about the weight. Get out our scale of truth here. Nothing gets past the scale of truth. It's coming in at 3.25 ounces overall. And that's, guys, that's fantastic if you like a really well balanced knife. You know, the whole ounce per inch type thing leads to a really, really pleasant feeling experience in the hand and a nice feeling of balance overall. As far as the materials are concerned, we've got 20 CV purple haze fat carbon fiber. It's got a stamped steel pocket clip, and I'm pretty sure that that's steel, but people tell me that I need to use a magnet. So the magnet we're using today is actually the end cap on my Olight Baton 3. Is it titanium? Nope. That is in fact steel. So even though they don't mention it, they kind of omit that it's a steel pocket clip. It is in fact steel. Don't get it twisted. We also have inset steel liners that are skeletonized on the show side, and I'll see if I can get in there and show you, but they are skeletonized on the show side to help relieve some weight. On the clip side, not so much. And I'm kind of glad that they didn't relieve it on the clip side, because then it would have lightened it even further, and I think that it's plenty light as it is. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's go do some comparisons against some popular knives. Here it is up against the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, and how about the ever popular Spyderco Para 3. As you can see, it's a bit closer to the overall length of a Spyderco Para 3, just a little bit longer, but also a little bit shorter than the PM2. Carry profile is going to be a lot more pocket friendly than either of those, however. How about width? It is dead on with the Spyderco PM2 as far as width is concerned. There is no difference. They're going to be very similar in that aspect. So yeah, this is a knife that is extremely carry friendly, with a weight around the 3 ounce mark and with a profile that does not offend. It's going to fit really, really well in the pocket. And speaking about how well it fits, let's talk about the ergos for a second. So it's got a great hand feel. They do not actually give us any kind of grooves for our fingers or any kind of suggestions. It's kind of a paint your own picture kind of story there. And it works out well because it means that a lot of people are going to be able to get a very decent grip. You do get some jimping up here at the top, which is moderately aggressive, but not too much. And you don't get a finger choil or a finger cutout here at the bottom, but you do get some jimping there as well. And so this is a very comfortable grip. Jimping, index finger and a thumb are lined up, and that makes for a very nicely controlled grip. You can, of course, move your thumb further up down the spine if that helps with whatever your action is, but it's going to make it very good for pull cuts, for draw cuts, and for, I don't know, regular people box opening cuts. What kind of grip do you put on your knife? Oh yeah, and reverse grip is extremely solid. It's almost like it was meant for reverse grip. Switching between grips on this is the easiest thing ever. Now that we've talked about that, let's talk about the action. Now, they don't list this, but it does feel like ceramic bearings. The detent is also very crisp. It does not take a whole lot to actually flick this out. That was a very cursory effort on my part. Very lackadaisical, and pow, right in the kisser. There it is. So the detent is nice and crispy. The moment you get over that detent ball, it is coming out. However, it does lack for deployment options. As you can see, if you don't like front flippers, this might not be for you, because that is the only deployment option. Now, you know that while I do like front flippers as an option, I don't like it necessarily normally as the only option. So when this came in, I found myself subconsciously becoming creative, and I haven't seen other people do this. Maybe it's something that they do, but I call this the snap flip, and it is actually really, really fun to do. And it saves the side of your thumb and your index finger, because instead of doing it like this, which it does really well, you can actually move it down to your ring finger and it deploys really easily. The grip on here is good. It is a tiny bit slick because there's not really a whole lot of texturing on these handle scales, but the handle scales are slab style. They do round off towards the edges and they round over. And if we look in on that, you can actually see the layers of carbon fiber, which for some reason, I actually really like seeing that. It has almost a chalky matte feel to it, and it just feels great in the hand. This is my first experience with fat carbon fiber, and so far it's a really good one. I do enjoy the design language on this a lot because while it looks kind of subtle, it is actually a little bit complex. Now, I have some suggestions here. The line on this flat is beautiful. I absolutely love that. What would have looked really cool is if they had gone with the matte black up top and on the spine, and then done a polished on the flat of the main grind. I think that would have looked absolutely bananas. And if you agree with me, let me know in the comments section down below. There's not a whole lot going on as far as hardware is concerned. It is a single-sided captive pivot, and that is indeed what I would consider to be a T8. Maybe that's T9. I'll go ahead and pop it on the screen once I know for sure, but we're not going to interrupt for that. The pocket clip is where I have a bit of annoyance because as far as ergonomics are concerned, it's not a hot spot, but I notice it, and it's annoying that I notice it because they can make a stamped pocket clip that is not noticeable, but because this is a goose bill instead of a ramp into a ski jump, you do feel it, and I don't feel like you should on this knife. They could have designed that clip a little bit better. Furthermore, at the price tag, it should actually have a milled titanium clip, and I realize that I haven't mentioned the price tag yet. Oh yeah, this guy is $180. But remember, you still get 20 CV and fat carbon fiber for your $180. I just kind of wish that they had included a milled titanium clip. Good news, I've done a little bit of testing and I can verify that the Civivi tie clip, while it might not look like it does, it actually does fit. You might have to fidget around with the screws a little bit, but you can make it fit. And as soon as I'm done reviewing this knife, I'm actually going to pick up a black Civivi tie clip, and it is going on this knife because it just looks and feels a lot better with that. You heard it here first. The Civivi tie clip will fit on your Feist XL. Don't hate me, Kizer. I just don't like your pocket clip. The weird thing is that on the other side of this pivot, you can actually tell that it's not on center, and that is a tiny bit annoying to me, and for anyone out there who's a little bit on the OCD side of things, not having that pivot center just bothers me. Now, I know that it makes sense mechanically speaking, and they wouldn't have put it there if it didn't work there, but I wish that they had been able to find a way to move it over just a skosh so that it was dead center. That would have just looked more appealing. With that being said, who would I recommend this to? So you've got to be a fan of front flippers or be someone that's interested in getting into them. And I say that because this knife is actually very easy for me to front flip the traditional way. Pinching up at the top makes it really easy as long as your fat hands don't get in the way. No effort whatsoever, and that's really nice. You can also do the other tricks like that, or my personal new favorite, the snap flick, which I think is just a really cool way and fun way to deploy it. Anyways, at the $180 price point, do I think that that's too much for this knife? No, and I'm going to say why, because you get full fat carbon fiber handle scales, and while I normally do prefer titanium because titanium is a bit stronger and tougher in the end, what you lose out in that little bit of toughness, you actually gain in weight reduction, and that adds to the overall balance of the knife and makes it extremely fun and easy to fidget with. It also adds to the aesthetics because that depth that you get with the purple haze fat carbon fiber, that extra sheen that comes when you change angles, is really, really beautiful to me. But you let me know. Do you like this knife? Seeing it up close and personal, does it change your opinion of it beforehand? Do you have one of these? If not, are you going to pick one up? I'm going to link it down in the description below, and I'll also pin it in the comment section for those of you who are interested. But let me know your thoughts. Guys, If you liked the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, boo-hoo, there's a button for you too. And if you want to check out the Grail or Garbage ranking that's going to be coming on this soon, make sure you hit subscribe. I'm Rollshambo. I'll catch you on the flip side.